Hey guys, today we're going to be going over Milestone 2. What I'm going to have you do, and I'll walk you through it in this video, is you're going to take an image. There should be a set of images on the canvas that you can select from. You'll choose one of those images. You will recreate that as a vector logo in Illustrator. You will take that, you will place it in InDesign, and you will save that as a presentation. Like the previous milestone, there will be some file work involved, so let's go ahead and create the initial file folder that we need. So I'm actually going to jump back out here, new folder. Again, you should be using your first initial last name for all of these. So JDO Milestone 2. We're going to go in here. Oops, let me get that in view for you. And we're going to create a new folder here called source again. And these will be where you store the files that you are given. I am going to have this one right here. So I've got that there. So let me go ahead, and you'll see it in a second here. So let me just get this out of the way. And so this is already saved. I need to rename this to JDO. Let me see. And one thing that helps if you're working with stuff is if you hit F2 on the keyboard, it'll immediately jump you in there to editing. Otherwise, you would have to go through here and find the rename. Did I not click on it? Find the rename option down here. I think it's a little bit easier to hit F2, and it works in a lot of different programs in Windows. All right, so JDO, this is going to be logo underscore orig. So this is our original logo. And then we'll go ahead and just drag this into Illustrator and get started. It might take a second, but there we go. All right, get that matched up. So I'm going to shrink this down. I'm just going to, that default rectangle that's there, I'm going to shrink this down so that it fits inside of that space. So I'm just going to scale it down to right there. That'll work for me. And then from here, I'm going to use the pen tool and whatever else I need in order to create this logo. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this layer. So I'm just going to lock this layer outright, create another one on top, and then I'll start working on this second one. I think for me, this big fire element is going to be the easiest to kind of start on. And so I'm going to use the pen tool and just start going around here. And again, I mentioned to you guys, this tool takes a little bit of getting used to. So just go easy. What you want to avoid with it is doing too many points. I know it kind of sounds counterintuitive, but you get smoother curves if you use less points. So I have one at the corner here, one I kind of identified a bump in the middle here. There's this curve right here, the bump in the middle, and that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points making up this entire area. When I get to this point, one thing you can do is you can click on this, on the anchor point that I just created. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a little V shape right there. If I click on it, it's going to get rid of this extra arm here. If I don't do that, when I go to create this next one, this will be weighting it. So if I click on that and then draw this next one, I can now just do that and get that in one curve. I'll do it again, then I'll come back around and continue placing points. And again, I'm trying to keep the number of them down. This is more of a vibes-based science than anything else, so it's kind of hard for me to really justify why I'm going for certain points. I just am. Okay, so I clicked on that. So at this point now, you see I'm starting to have trouble seeing what I'm working on. So I can do Shift X, and that'll get that default over there so that the border, the white is no longer the fill, it's now the border. Or I can do D, and then I can hit slash on the keyboard and remove the fill, and then I still have the line that I'm working on here. This is going to work a little bit better for me, so I can continue working now at this tracing. And I think that's all the tips I have for you at this point. I don't think there's anything else, so what I'll do is I'll pause this, keep working on it, and then I'll come back to you when I finish this yellow part. So I'll be right back. Okay, that didn't take long at all, and I have this part done. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this same part here for the orange, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to plan on using the Pathfinder tool for this. So instead of trying to duplicate this exact curve at the bottom, I'm just going to overdraw this. So I'm going to start out here in the middle, oops, and I'm going to continue working my way around with this area. And I'm not looking for exact, so like the fact that, you know, oh, I could probably move this like half a pixel over there doesn't really matter. I'm looking for, you know, good line work. I'm looking for, you know, appropriate use of the tools here. Don't spend, you know, 16 hours trying to copy this logo, and if you end up with 600 different pieces, you've probably gone wrong somewhere. So hopefully you're at least at the point where you've gotten started on this in class, and I can help you with it, and help smooth out kind of the process that you're working on. So anyway, let me finish up this, and then I will pop back in once I've done this, and I'll show you how I work these two together. Okay, so I just closed these two, so now I have the two separate ones right here. I tried to be lazy and close this. If you do end up with like a little bit of overlap here, what I would advise is to not just like grab one of these and drag it, because if I grab this one, it's going to change that line, right? So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit plus on the keyboard, but it's the alternative to opening up the pen tool menu here. Typically you see the pen tool, but there's a plus option which will let you add an anchor point. So I'm going to click there to add one, switch to the direct selection tool, and now I've got those two areas separate. Alright, so I'm going to select both of these. I'm going to do the overlap here with the divide rather with the Pathfinder, and then now if I ungroup these, I should have this area separate that I can simply just delete and slice off. And then I've got this area here. These are both just lines right now, but if I select this one right here, I can hit I, sample that color, and then I can select the orange border here, hit I, and sample that color. And so just to like move this out of the way real quick, I'll turn off this layer and we can double check, and you can see that's a pretty accurate overlay of that logo. So the next part is going to be this bowl or pan. And one of the things that I constantly tell my students is let the computer do the hard work for you. And what I mean by that is don't try and do the line tool with a shape right here like this. I'm going to use the ellipse tool, and I'm going to create something about that same size and shape. I'm going to get rid of that. Actually, let's go there, because well, let me change this border color to something so that it stands out against what I'm working on. So I've got a green color there, and what I'm going to do is try and rotate this to get it about the right, and then I'm just going to kind of squeeze it and reshape it to get it about the right size and shape that I'm looking for each of these areas. So that looks pretty close. This needs to come in a little bit. And it looks like the rotation's still off a tiny bit, but I'm going to just kind of nudge this until I get it as close as I can get it. It's just not worth kind of your time to try and, you know, manually draw all this over. So like I say, let the computer do the hard work, let it draw this ellipse for you, or for me anyway, and then come back and worry about the stuff that you can do. So let's see, that looks about right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that this right here is based on a similar size. So again, I'm going to do Control C, which is the same as going Edit Copy, and then I'm going to do Control Shift V, which is paste in place. So Control C, Control Shift V, and now I have a second set of lines here. I'm going to hold down Alt, and you can see now I can move these lines. And so this allows me to get essentially the same kind of arc that I was working with, but offset from it slightly. So that, and what I want to avoid is trying to go, okay, well, I'm going to draw another one of these and then try and rotate it into the exact same angle and hope that I'm right. This makes sure that the angle that I'm working with is correct, and I can keep kind of using this again and again as I repeat this process. So as I'm going through here, I'm just looking to make sure that these lines are lining up, and some of them can get squeezed in a little bit, it looks like. It looks like my rotation is off slightly, but that's fine. One of the greatest things I learned from a painting teacher is that nobody knows what you were painting in the first place. So you can always kind of just say, hey, that's what it looked like to me, man. All right, so that's the first one done. What I'm gonna do now is a move copy. So I have this second one selected. I'm gonna hold down the Alt key on the keyboard, and I'm gonna click and drag. And that's gonna copy this for me a second time down. And I'm gonna try and keep this about in the same place. And then again, I'm gonna have to go in here and do a couple more adjustments. It looks like this actually got narrow. Oops, this got narrower. And then we'll come out again. I'm holding down Alt to scale this evenly in both directions when I do that. And then looks like it is, you can see here it's starting to show that I did have this a little bit low on the right side. But again, we're going for close enough, not perfect. That little move I did there is because if you kind of move too close to where you're going, it snaps. So if you move further away and then come back, it unsnaps it. Okay, so the only thing I have to do now is I need to get the bottom arc of this. So again, we'll do a move copy, and then this one's going to be way up here. Actually, you know what? We'll do that one. Okay, we'll do that second one on its own. So we'll grab this top part first. I'm going to hit D and Shift X and then slash to get those without the border. Again, I'll call in the Pathfinder to do that merge. And then actually that was probably one, oops, that was probably one where I could just select both and then do a subtraction. And then it looks like it will let me grab this separate and just delete it. So I've got that part done. So I should still, oh no, I didn't do it right. Was this, oh, because this needs to be on the top. Okay, there we go. All right, so we've got the second arc down here, and what I'm gonna do is I'll just do a pen tool on this, so I'll try and get it as close as I can to there. We'll get a second line. No, this is gonna need 3. So we'll get that right there, and then one more right there. And then again, I'm just gonna do a point and a point. And then I mentioned in the somewhere, I told you guys about Control Y. So Control Y toggles on line mode. You can do that under here, View Outline, but it lets you just toggle back really quickly to see where things are. In my case, I'm going to use that to select both of these. So I just made sure I selected the thing I just drew down here, this big shape, and then this circle that's here. And again, I'll do another Pathfinder overlap. We will ungroup it, and then we'll get rid of all the unnecessary sections we don't need. Finally, we've got this bit right here, and this should go pretty quick. Let me make sure, yeah, still in red, okay. I want to make sure I didn't change layers on accident. So again, we'll go through the same process, just draw this. Can I get away with this? No, I can't. Okay, where was that? I want to go further down. So sometimes you can't quite get all the curves you need out of a few spots. You need to add some more. It happens. Let's do that. That. Now I'm going to need one right about there. Because this is going to have to come back up. And then, oops. And then this is one time where I'm going to go to Shift C and I'm just going to grab this. And I'm going to redraw this one. I'm actually going to move it here. So it's not quite working how I want. That looks good. So with that selected, I'll hit D. We'll move that fill over and get rid of the edge. And then we have the cooking label right here. So I'm going to place some text, caps lock, cooking. And then I'm going to do a move copy so I don't have to get the text tool back out. And we'll do healthy food. I don't care if you guys are doing print black versus RGB black. It doesn't matter for this. As far as I'm concerned, black is black, but this color I do want to sample, so I've got this selected. I'm going to hit I, sample that, and we'll get that there. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start trying to find this font. Again, I'm looking for close enough for this. Don't spend like 45 minutes trying to get a close font. Some of these are going to be really, really hard to find. In this case, that's probably the closest I've got on this computer. If you want, one of the things that Adobe does, though I don't know if the school computers offer this, is there is a font library that you can choose here in Adobe. We've had trouble with it in the past, so I don't know if it's going to work for you guys. Selected text. I don't even know if it's going to work for me right now. Come on. Okay, yeah. So this symbol right here means that it's in the cloud. So I'm searching through some fonts here that are in the cloud. Some I have, some I don't. Some of the couple things to look for as far as typography is things like, see how the C's are coming in kind of like there's a 90-degree arrow gap pointing here, whereas this has this parallel. So there's different things that I'm looking for as I'm skimming. But that C is going to be a major component in getting an accurate font for this. And whether or not I'll be able to find one is debatable. This might entirely just be a custom font that whoever designed this original logo created. I'm going to give it a good college try here. Hello. Oh, then it didn't select it. Where was it? It's pretty far down too. Let me see here. Because that one was pretty close. It was hard to tell how small it was, though. All right, tell you what, I'll pause it and I'll come back and if I find something. Okay, I think we got it now. I had to turn on my Adobe Creative Cloud because I had that disabled, so that wasn't helping. We should be able to do it now. Okay, there. So again, I'm looking for close, not perfect. This isn't 100% match, but I'm fine with that for this project. I don't want you guys spending 16 hours trying to figure out like an exact font match. This has a pretty good close match on the O or on the G and on the C and on the O. It's just not like thick enough. The K is different, but again, I'm not super worried about it. We're just going to try and line this up so that it's about the same height and about the same width. That's all I'm looking for in this project. So just good enough is all we're looking for here on this one. Then we'll need another one for this other line. I don't know what font we'll use for this, but again, we're going to be looking for something that's a bit of a thicker font. We have filters here too, so you can change based on the classification of the font. Because this doesn't have serifs, I can click on that. Um, and then, oh, sorry, does it? Yeah, okay. So we want to get a serif font. We want it to be a probably heavyweight, maybe a midweight for this one, regular width, and then we can figure out the kerning and different font attributes from here. So it looks like, just looking at the A and the E are big ones that I'm going to be looking for on this. Let's actually bump this up to a thicker font. And that right there is close enough for me. So we'll just drag this up here. Now we do have some text spacing going on. So I'll go in here to character. We will find kerning right here. Oh, is it not going to let me? Oh, there we go, tracking. Okay. So we'll space these letters out a little bit. So that kind of just adds extra space in between them. And then if we scale this up, let's see if we can get it to be about the right size. And if we put this here, that's not bad. I think that's pretty good. All right, so that gets us done with this first part. So, oops, no, don't do that. It's looking for this icon, not that. All right, so if I turn this off now, you can see that as I toggle this, there's very little change except for this, of course. So it's a pretty close copy of it. Again, I'm looking for close, not perfect. So I'm going to alternate these now. Now I just have this showing up. So I already have this saved as the image, but now I need to save it as Illustrator. So I'm going to go to the source folder again, and this is going to be my logo copy. And then once we've done that, we can go ahead and close out Illustrator, and I will see you guys back here in a minute in InDesign. All right, so we're back here in InDesign, and we're going to create a letter sheet. So I'm going to click on letter right here, and it might take a minute. We go on. There it goes. Okay. So we're going to want this in a presentation format, or sorry, a landscape format. So what I'm actually, why don't I we'll just do a new one. Go away. So we'll do a new file. I want the 8.5 by 11 inches, but we're going to do landscape, and then I also want it in CMYK format. Oh, never mind. It's InDesign. Okay. Yeah, okay, great. So we've got that right there. So now I've got my folder where I have the two images that I worked on. So I've got my original and my copy. I'm going to drag the original out here. And what this is going to do is it's going to link it. I'll show you guys in a second what that means. So I'm just going to click. Don't click and drag when you place these in here. Otherwise what happens is if you click and drag, it ends up small. We're going to resize these. So I always get that wrong. Okay, so it's just control. There we go. All right, so I've got that there. I've got my logo that I created here, and I'm going to resize these so that they're about the same size. So just make sure when you do that, you hold down Control and Shift at the same time. Otherwise, you're going to have to resize both the things. Now I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. I'm just going to try and get these about the same size so that I can show them kind of equally. And I'm mostly just going off of kind of what's the left-right boundary, because once that's the same, everything should be the same. So right there, a little bit further out, tiny bit further in. See, it keeps snapping. That's why sometimes it's easier to just go over and then come back. Okay, if I put that on top, okay, that's close enough for me. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to use this. So this I'm not going to hold down control. I'm just going to resize the cropping area of the other one. What did I do? Did I not hold it down? I didn't hold it down one time. So be careful when you're doing that, because you might scale it in the wrong way. Because these should overlap pretty exactly. Alright, I screwed up something. Let me go back. I didn't hold down shift or control at one point. Let me try this again. Oops. So we will just scale it up. See, that's that brown area that I was talking about in the other lecture. That's kind of a pain to work with. Okay, one more. I must have done something. Let me drag both of these back in and we'll try that again. So we got this. I am going to keep it down to a moderate size now. Now that I know it's being a pain. And then that gives me less movement to worry about. Okay, so Control Shift. Yeah, we're scaling proportional. Okay, and then too large. There we go. All right, yeah, it's just one of them at some point. I didn't hold down Shift. Okay, so now we're going to scale down this border here so that they're about the same size. And then I'm going to scale them both up so that they kind of fit nicely on the page. And I can tell just by looking at the C here that this is my copy and this is the original. Now, one of the things I have you guys do is I have you create a drop shadow. So to create that drop shadow, you're going to select one of the images first. You're going to go to Object and then Effects and Drop Shadow. And you've got some settings here for it. If your preview button isn't checked, check it on so that it's on. And you can see that it put this little box outline right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the size of this slightly so that it doesn't go as far. I'm going to reduce the opacity down a little bit right there. We'll increase the size. And so then that'll give us kind of like a little darker halo around this, and it'll make this pop up out of the page. So I'll hit OK to apply that. And now you can see I've got kind of just this faint thing over here and then a little line right there. Now, one of the issues with it is when I go to this image right here, oops, no, not that. It might be, see how it's only working off of the image itself? So, let's hit cancel, and then so what we're gonna do is we'll go in here, we'll change this to H, and we'll select what's a white background. It's not visually going to change anything about this, but it's going to apply a white background to it. So now when I come back here and apply the drop shadow, it should be just like the other one. Of course, it lost all the settings. So let's click on this, Window, Properties, Drop Shadow, and then let's see if it'll let me do the same settings that way. Nope, I'll have to figure it out. Okay. Well, we'll just set it to, I think it was 44%. It was one click down. And then I think we bumped the fuzz up right there a little bit. I think that's right. They look about right. So now we've got both of those there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label these. So I'm going to hit T for the text tool. I'm going to click once, or sorry, InDesign, click and drag. I'm going to drag this out, and doesn't matter what font, I'm just going to use the default for this one. And I'm going to call this original logo. Hit escape, hold down Alt to move copy, and this is going to be copied logo, and then escape. So just real simple, I just want a presentation of the original and the present and the copied one that you created. Once that's done, oops, save on computer. We'll go to where my folder is. So here's Milestone 2. In the main folder here, I'm going to call this JDO presentation. It's spelled right? Yes. Okay. And then once that's saved, I'm going to go to File, and we're going to Export, and we're going to export it as a PDF for print as well, so that we have a copy of both the original and the PDF. Don't worry about any of these settings for now. We're not going to go into those for this. So now I should have, in my folder, I've got the source folder with the original and the copy of the image and the Illustrator file. I've got the InDesign presentation and the PDF that's right here. And let me, oh, it's all wonky. Okay. And there we go with the final PDF. So this is what I want to have finalized. So that'll be the project for this milestone. You guys are going to have to choose your own logo. I'll give you, again, a folder to choose from. And you'll go from there. All right? See you guys in class.